Hi, Davi here, and today we have a new episode in the art review series, and today we'll be checking out the work of EBI, or EBI Draw here on X. And I think we're gonna go with the theme of inks, because in the last two episodes, I believe I did, they have some color here and there, but I think their foundational sort of strength is their ink work. And I do notice that for EBI here, they also like adding some bleeds, like the pen they use, like it has that bleed sort of feature where the moment you stop a line, it sort of just bleeds into a point, so it basically becomes like a blob. Like it looks like it's been done traditionally, so it has that kind of effect. But I do like the approach here. It's kind of the same thing where the lines don't always meet, right? It's kind of just short of meeting the other line, so you don't often see intersecting lines, right? Like it's always sort of running short. But I do notice they do like for EBI here, they do like adding some like hatching effects and playing around with like areas where there is black fill-ins, but they'll fade it out with like a hatching sort of maybe brush or something and some halftones. So here we have some kind of anatomical study. I think they were trying to study the tricep. It looks like it. Pretty cool. It looks like a Sumi sort of painting, right? I believe this is a bleach character, right? Now this one doesn't have inks. It's more of a digital painting study. But the shapes, I'm not sure where this character is from. This one specifically. Could this be a fan art? I don't know. However, when they do add color, I do like it. It does have that watercolor vibe, right? Where it's it's not super opaque like an oil painting or a gouache painting. It has that sort of watery, transparent look to it. Now, this one does feel a lot more digital. Kind of like this one. So it's kind of in between, right? And I think because of the lack of texture, it does look a bit clean. Reminds me of some of the paintings of Evan Lee. Right? Look at this. Taking a while to load. Oh my god. Oh, look at this. Oh, come on. Jeez. Look at that. I love let me just hit this guy. Ooh, let's zoom in. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's a high quality image. So look at that. Right? Look at the way they're shading. The lighter part of their skin is pretty close to white. So the areas in shadow, it's the actual skin color. So it's like a very highly exposed sort of image. But the way the line work is done, it's so like fluid, very like, it's almost like a rubber band, like it's being pulled, right? I don't see a lot of like sharp shapes, like really sharp edges. They're all kind of curvy at the points. Look at them toes, right? Reminds me of some of the sketches of CC Wen, although they do more like black and white drawings. They have that same fluidity. Just search for CC space Wen. Look at that. Wow. And also maybe a bit of Rasetsu, Rasetu. Again, it's the same character with the short hair. Let's focus in on this part. God, there you go. Look at the shadows of the necks along the clavicle. They did decide to leave some inks in, although it's very minimal, kind of in the edge of the shadows. They do like adding that line work in. It's very light though. It's kind of like a core shadow. Sometimes it's in the core shadow where the light hits the shadow, like the in between, or it's kind of in the edge of the cast shadow. Hopefully you get what I'm saying. Like it's gonna be in either 2 points, basically. Like there are no rules to this, but it just adds a bit of an edge, and you can do that by adding a very light line, right? I do like the way things are drawn though with the eyes. It's very pretty. Here we go, lots of inks. So look at this guy. Let's see the full image. Ooh. I do see some black fill-ins, although it's very sort of sporadic, right? Very Sumi-ish. I see a lot of like circles, ovals, ellipses. It's there's a term in figure drawing, contrapposto something. I think I'm saying it wrong, where the lines go back and forth and they kind of alternate like a wave. I do see some of that here, even in the ink sketches. Damn, I can see a little bit of... Let's just zoom in here. There we go. Look at, oh. And then this guy or this chick is pretty muscular as hell. That's a nice looking horse, and they're even showing up a little bit of the anatomy of the like the bone structure. You know how sometimes the bone just it does seep out through the fat, the muscles. Even the way the shadow was done for the leg for this back, pretty cool, right? And it's so fluid, right? Even the hair looks great. So this is perhaps a part of their. Maybe they did this. It's the calligraphy practice, so maybe they do have a traditional background, right? Kind of like this. Wait, are they doing this traditionally? Well, maybe they're doing both. It looks like they're doing both, right? Yeah, they do like leaving their works kind of highly exposed. So basically, the shadows are the color of the skin, but the areas in light is just white for the most part. I think it works great for like manga types of illustrations or images because you still have kind of that white paper, but you're not coloring the whole page. So it's kind of an in between purely black and white and a full colored piece. You're just coloring the shadows in this case. I like the way they're adding the highlights for the hair. Let's do zoom in a little bit here. Lots of soft edges there. Maybe they're using a mixer brush after drawing with a hard brush, or maybe it's they start out with a soft edged brush. Although I do notice for the hair, they like to leave it as a silhouette, meaning they're not drawing like a chunk of the whole thing, or like each part of the hair is sort of chunked out, usually in anime, right? But in this case, it's like one big silhouette. Basically, they're just focusing on the contours of the whole like hair shape, but that's it. Look at these legs. Oh, do you see those stirrup leggings? It's always a thing. I see this a lot in the recent anime Dandadan. A lot of the characters, they're the girls anyway. There you go. They're wearing like stirrups, so I think that's a good look. Look at them dogs. So we have a colored piece here, right? Again, I'm not sure if the character is like an OC original character or maybe it's a fan art. But when they do render, again, not much texture. And they like playing with that soft effect. You can see it in the cat, in the background. It's kind of like it's almost like, do you know how you look at water and how light is being reflected on water and it sort of sparkles? It has that kind of effect. So we have an elf chick here. Oh, so the line work is only in the face and everything else is left kind of soft. I mean, I do see a little bit of the initial sketch. It's very light. And I guess after the coloring, they decided to like fix up or add into this ink, these like ink work. It's very minimal though, very subtle, very demure. I do see a bit of subsurface scattering for the ear, right? The insides anyway. Oh, this one's pretty cool. The full piece. Oh, wow. Let me just zoom in here. Look at that. Again, look at how they're rendering. It always has... I feel like the edges they lean more soft and hard. Like they don't have as many hard edges when they do start adding color. Like it's almost like they're using mostly an airbrush because of the amount of soft edges being used. All right. For example, if you look at the ribbon here, the bow tie, is it a bow tie or the ribbon? Look at how many hard edges are there. The major hard things are actually aside from the gold thing, the pin. If you look at the actual ribbon, the black ribbon, the major hard things are the line work. You know, like these parts right here. Sorry, it's loading. Damn, what's taking so freaking... Oh, I'll just zoom in. There you go. See that? The only thing that's really hard is this thing over here. Like instead of using like a hard brush, they're using a line to do that. If you look at the rendering underneath those lines, it's all very soft, or it leans more soft than hard, and you see that everywhere. And again, most of the color, you see it in the shadows. It doesn't apply, I guess, to the black sort of dress here. Oh, it's the fashion sort of thing. Design looks really good. But for the top and the skin, it's usually a little more exposed, or it has high exposure. Oh, look at those frills. Yeah, maybe check out the work of Evan Lee, because sometimes when they render, it does look this way as well, although without the line work. So that's pretty cool. That's it. Hey, look at that, right? Again, with the black villains, notice it's one big silhouette with some highlights and this kind of a half tone. Well, not half tone, sorry, like a hatching sort of effect. I think it's a brush, like a custom brush. So I think it's a great way to save time instead of drawing. Obviously, this depends on your style and people's or an artist's preferences, but you can do this where you just kind of figure out the whole hair in one silhouette and then add the highlights, basically the white parts. And then if you want, you can add like either a gradient to it, or in this case, their gradient is really a like a hatching sort of texture. Pretty cool. Let's go further. Oh, come on. So we have a figure drawing here. Quick study. Look at that. For the hair, it's still a silhouette, but I think they figured out the shape in the beginning. Oh, they did add some line work, I guess, for some chunks on the hair, right? But it's very loose. And then once they have like a shape, they use that as a selection, and then they use this sort of halftone, or sorry, this hatching slash halftone texture to create that gradient. Pretty cool. Everything else though is in ink. And again, those bleeds, they look like sumi, or it's as if they're using a ballpoint pen that bleeds a lot. I'm sure you've had one of those in school. Oh my goodness. Look at this. So it looks like I know those windows. This is very common in like Asia. I'm not sure if it's common in other places, but maybe in like developing nations. Well, that's not true. It looks like a hazard when you have like, because what if, like fire happens, right? If there's a fire emergency, like you want to be able to leave the window, but the thing is, it's very common to have your windows to have these sorts of grills. So basically, you're trapped inside. So it is a scary part, but and of course the hanging clothing near the windows. It's so like anyway. But the line work, I don't see a lot of line weight. They're not using the blading sort of pen, although I still see the sort of hatching texture there being used. For this one though, they do add a bit of that. Oh, look at those stirrup leggings and those feet. They add like a silhouette, or sorry, like an outline. I think it's called a pink or red in this case. Reminds me a little bit of the work of Jay Kwang. Hopefully, I'm remembering his name right. I think he works with Super Annie, the Super Annie team in South Korea, right? So this is a more like digital painting study, I guess. Right? It's so fun. And when you're doing black and white drawings, I think, first of all, you can produce a lot because you don't have to worry about coloring. But also, it's just like it's easier to focus on the story because you're not really focused on the colors. Like you're breaking it down to just the bare essentials. So I think that's the advantage of using black and white only. And besides, you can see like the amount of like texture they're using, like halftones, some hatching, some noise brushes here, or noise like splatter textures. Like you can achieve a certain like variety with just black and white. And by black and white, I mean there's no grayscale. It's just pure black and white. It looks really cool. I like this one. So it's like a gift. It's to someone and from the artist. Pretty cool. Yeah. So we have a dancer here. Reminds me of, who's the character from Ryu from the Vibes anyway? Ryu from Denmanchi. Remember where she was on a date with the main character, the guy with the white hair. But Ryu has gray hair, right? So I don't know. It kind of reminded me of their night or date night scene, right? Very kawaii. Another digital sketch, and again, very minimal textures. Look at this one. Look at them feet. Here you go. So we have like a fan. Again, the hair silhouette, halftone textures, but that's it. There's no even hatching. I don't see as much hatching involved. Maybe for this one, is there hatching here? Maybe a little bit. Look at this, a back sort of view of the character. Look at that. Ooh, I like how they have like small chibi stuff here. A very cute icon like drawing. I think this is from like Bleach. I don't know. Like this character in the bottom, like I've seen her so many times online and on YouTube, as fan art. So, oh, this is so cute. Kawaii, kawaii. Look at this. This one feels like a fashion illustration for some reason, right? Yeah. So maybe they're influenced by that. Who knows? Where is this? I'm not sure where. Looks pretty cool though. Tokyo? South Korea? China? I don't know. Oh, we have some Copic markers that are being used. But yeah, that's it for this art review of EBI. I do recommend you check out the work, especially if you're into drawings. Oh wow, okay, what are they doing here? Oh no. And yeah, if you're into drawings and you want to play around with like textures, oh look at this hand study here, the knuckles. What's going on here? And if you're into stirrup leggings, legs in general, look at them dogs. Jesus, right? If you're into sumi, black and white, this kind of thing, half on textures, highly recommend. Oh, look at, oh my own. I think we're on the same wavelength, this EBI guy or chick, who knows, but this artist is definitely in my sort of sphere, so I highly recommend their work, so check out. I'm going to link their page in the description below. And yeah, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!